You're ugly, you're disgusting, I'm gonna kill you, give me $200.
You know, when City of Heroes closed its servers back in 2012, there was a massive hole left in the MMORPG gaming community. Up until the very last seconds of the scheduled server shutdown, players were coming together and spending their time creating the last memories of playing their favorite game. There was even a major petition from the game's community that attempted to convince NCSoft to not shut down their beloved game, but alas, it was unsuccessful. For much of City of Heroes community, it wasn't just a game. It was a place where people made friends, long-standing memories, and overall it made a lasting impression on their lives. Just do a quick search online for City of Heroes shutdown, and you will see quite a few videos of people talking about their experience in this virtual world. Over the course of the years after City of Heroes was shut down, there was whispers in the community that there was a private server of the game being ran in secret. Finally, in 2019, news broke that the rumor was true. The code was passed around online, allowing people to potentially start running their own private servers, with one major server breaking into the scene: City of Heroes Homecoming. People could finally play City of Heroes again, but people feared that NCSoft would loom over these private servers and shut them down. Well, in 2024, the Homecoming server announced that NCSoft officially licensed them, meaning that until the foreseeable future, City of Heroes would be here to stay, including the budding private server scene that began popping up over the last few years.
Yeah, baby!
Now, I've talked about City of Heroes on the channel before during the launch of Homecoming. It was a game I never really got to experience much during its service, so when it got revived, I hopped in. Now, 5 years later, how is City of Heroes looking nowadays, with Homecoming finally getting licensed? Let's take a look at the City of Heroes revival community. The City of Heroes private server community has seen quite a bit of additional choices when it comes to playing the game everyone knows and loves nowadays. Of course, like many of the private servers we have discussed on the channel, all of these that I'm going to discuss are completely free to play with no upfront costs whatsoever. So if you are someone who is looking to jump into the classic for the first time, or a veteran looking to return, you literally have nothing to lose other than maybe your time if you get addicted. So let's start with the server that has become the poster child for the City of Heroes community, Homecoming. Homecoming is the official go-to server for City of Heroes nowadays. With its official license from NCSoft, it's more or less not even a private server anymore. Over the past few years beyond getting the license, Homecoming has also trickled in some content updates. Content in Homecoming unfortunately doesn't release at the speed that a full-fledged studio could release them at, but it's still new content that players can look forward to. The most exciting additions I've seen were brand new power sets to play around with. The power set customizations of the game is one of City of Heroes' shining features, so to see brand new ones being added in is incredible. For those unfamiliar, let's break down character creation in City of Heroes. When creating a new character, you first choose your starting faction or zone from two options. Choosing the default Primal Earth lets you choose between hero or villain. The secondary option, Praetorian Earth, is an alternate starting zone that has a slightly different starting experience. The origin choice below changes some things in-game, but it's really minuscule. Next, you have your playstyle choice, which is essentially the roles of City of Heroes. You have tank, melee, ranged, crowd control, support, and pets. Each playstyle also has different archetypes, which further changes how that role you choose plays. The archetypes influence some of your stats, as well as determining what power sets you actually get access to. The archetype choices are Brute, Tanker, Stalker, Scrapper, Blaster, Corruptor, Defender, Sentinel, Controller, Dominator, and Mastermind. There is also two exclusive archetypes based on if you are a hero or villain. The heroes get Peacebringer and Warshade, while villains get Arachno Soldier or Widow. Now, past the archetype choice, you get into the actual meaty parts of customization. customization, your primary and secondary power choices. This is where you can create something truly unique. There are so many power choices it can make your head spin. Just to give you an idea, the choices I have as a blaster archetype are archery, assault rifle, beam rifle, dark blast, dual pistols, electrical blast, energy blast, fire blast, ice blast, psychic blast, radiation blast, seismic blast, sonic attack, storm blast, and water blast.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa.
That's an insane amount of choice. Then there is even more with secondary powers, which essentially mixes two sets together to create your quote-unquote class. As you can imagine, there are hundreds of combinations possible in terms of playstyle. Then if that's not enough for customization, there's also your character's look. You get the basic sliders to determine details on your character, but you can also change your costume with tons of different choices in detail. You can change colors, add effects, change the colors of your effects, change how your powers look when you use them, augment how specific costume pieces look on each part of your body. It's insane. Let's not forget that within the City of Heroes Homecoming community, as well as the other private servers, they have added some additional power set choices in costume pieces, so have fun spending hours in the character creator. But getting back to Homecoming specifically, Homecoming basically has all the markings of a professionally run game. There has been some additional servers added to the game to help with player load, each with their own small communities, including a European server. If you were hesitant to jump into City of Heroes before, I would say that with the official licensing, there is no better time to jump into Paragon City than now with Homecoming. Now let's get to the other private servers that have popped up over the years since City of Heroes resurgence. Beyond Homecoming, there is now Asmodee, Cake, Rebirth, Thunderspy, and Unity. At least that's what's advertised on Reddit. Most of the other servers are connected to via a snazzy new universal community launcher like Sweet Tea or Sunrise, or in smaller cases they have their own launcher. Now unfortunately, Asmodee, Cake, and Unity are servers I couldn't really get much information on because their websites were so barren, or they were just servers you could toy around in with fresh level 50 characters. Another small tidbit with the alternate servers you'll see is that to really get any sort of information on them, you'll have to join their Discord community, and even then you still might not get much information if their Discord community is empty. Either way, let's talk about the two servers that do have some organization behind them, starting with Rebirth. Rebirth is a server that advertises itself as developing City of Heroes the way Paragon Studios would have continued it as if they never shut down. More or less from what I could tell, this just meant that there is a slight difference in overall gameplay experience, as well as slightly different content being available for players to play through. Sadly, Rebirth has an incredibly small player base, roughly hovering around a measly 15 to 20 players on the days I monitored it. I would imagine Rebirth probably had more players at some point because they had custom content updates, so it's a bit of a shame to see it so abandoned. Thunderspy is the other server that seems to have a bit more of a vision behind it. Thunderspy looks to have more of a custom flair behind it, adding a unique login screen, additional modes like Iron Man in Hardcore, as well as adding in their own vast power set changes. Unfortunately, much like Rebirth, I just didn't see much of a player base when I was checking out the server. Again, I have to say it's a bit of a shame to see almost no player base on these custom servers, as I have to imagine there was a lot of work that went into changing things on the back end. So with all of that, it basically shows that Homecoming is still going to be the best choice of server to play if you actually want to join a decent player base. Homecoming roughly has around 1,000 to 2,000 players or so, spread across all of their servers nowadays during peak hours. Remember, Homecoming is still a fan project in nature, so it's never going to have an incredibly massive player base unless some big content creator out there advertises the game for them. Thankfully, the City of Heroes player base is still just as friendly as it used to be, with players constantly tinkering with new builds, running endgame content, scheduling events with the community, and so on. With Homecoming getting granted a license and no longer having to worry about getting shut down from NCSoft, Homecoming truly is the definitive way to play City of Heroes in 2024. It has all of the content from the original game and more nowadays with some of the additional content the Homecoming team has added. I think most of us can agree, if you've played City of Heroes before, that you could could spend literal hours in the character creator alone, with all the choices and customization options you have, choosing your archetype, all the power sets, how your character looks. It's very nostalgic to drop back into City of Heroes nowadays, and it's good to see that this experience won't be going away anytime soon. So have you been keeping up with City of Heroes? Did you even know it was still around? Comment below and let me know. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like the videos to support my content. Follow all my social media down below to keep up with me, and hopefully I will see you all next time.
Excelsior!